Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Chris with Elevation Construction. I'm here with our operations manager, Alma Chavez. What's up, Alma? How are you?
Hi, very good, Chris. And, getting ready to talk about value add.
Value add projects. And this is something that we kind of, I don't know, I guess we kind of fell into it just because of our property management background. We had clients who had multifamily properties and they just wanted someone to oversee their construction, and we were available. So we did that. So let's go ahead and talk about what a multifamily property is, right? So obviously, if someone's watching this video, they probably already know the basics, but let's cover it anyway. A multifamily property will be 5 units or more. So you get 5 units all the way up to, I don't know, you name it,
40.
a million, 40, 40 or a million, or maybe it's 40 million, right?
Yeah.
Um, Anything above 5 units. And typically, in the property management world, if it's between 1 and 4 units within the same building, it's considered single family. But when
Mhm.
you're dealing with banks and bank loans, when you go from 5 units or more, it turns into a commercial loan. So that's something we're going to get into in another video, but we're not going to get into depth on that right now. But we're going to talk about multifamily and value add properties. So, where do you want to start with that? Do you want to start with something on the value add?
Um, yes. So, value add is something that will increase the value of the property,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or
Yeah.
the income that you can get from this property from renters.
Correct. Yeah. So typically, it's like, let's just say it's a not a well maintained property that the investor purchases. Maybe it's a Class D or a Class C. They want to turn the D into a C or a C into a B. And the reason why they want to do that is because, one, they want to raise rents to whatever the market value is in that area, and I'm going to say or because that's probably majority of the cases that we've seen anyway. And they also want to increase the equity in that property. So if they renovate it, much like you're flipping a house, you renovate it, you put money into it, you increase the value of that property by doing these renovations and increasing the rent, which is increasing the revenue coming from that property. So that's a value add property. So you're going to make some money along the way. And then when you sell it, you can sell it, I don't know, what the 2X, 3X, or whatever it might be. But you'll be able to make some money on that property if you do it properly.
How do we know which improvements do we need or which improvements in a property will add value to it,
Right.
right? How do we
Yeah.
know? How do we find out?
How do we
Just
find out?
by thinking of our personal taste, or what will be too smart to consider?
Right. So our next video, we're going to talk about the strategy. And you don't, the problem is, and I've seen this before with newer investors, when they go in, they look at a property and they're really designing it and renovating it as if they're moving into it. So they get very emotional about it. And it is a fun process, but you got to remember, you got to renovate the property to what the neighborhood calls for. For example, if the neighborhood only has fiberglass shower surrounds, you don't necessarily have to do tile shower surrounds, right? So what you want to do is strategize on the home inspection report, the property management maintenance reports. Use those two, and we'll talk about that in the next video. And then when you make your selections, make selections based on what's around going on around in the neighborhood and what will help justify increasing the rent. So we'll go into that a little bit more when we talk about the interior stuff. But we also don't want to neglect the exterior because the exterior will protect the interior. So we'll cover that, I think, in video number 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So, the reason why this type of strategy is so attractive to investors is because this is a way for them to actually be a little bit more active. It's kind of like flipping a house. You take a big property with renters and the property's not performing well. They're not getting market value rent. Maybe you have renters in there who are not treating it well and they're not paying their rents. You work with your contractor and your property manager together to strategize, okay, what are we going to renovate? What tenants are we going to transition out? What strategies are we going to use for that? So it's very attractive because going through that work, it could take maybe 8 months to 18 months depending on how large the project is, but it's a little bit of a work, and at the end of the day you have a performing asset, you have something that is bringing in money, and you have something that you could sell and make a lot of money on.
Great. So seems like there is lots to talk about.
There's lots to talk about, and in this video series we have 11 videos we're going to talk about interior, exterior. We're going to talk about parking lots. We're going to talk about security. We're going to talk about electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all those cool stuff. But we're also going to talk about, if you're working with a lender, what are some of the things you need to consider for that? Because not all lenders are alike, and sometimes when we work with an investor who's new, they're not quite sure on how things go. So we'll talk about some basics there. And then at the end, we'll talk about what we can do as a service with Elevation Construction, helping you turn your multifamily unit into something that's performing for you and come up with a good strategy. And at the end of the day, make a lot more money.
We're gonna show some potentially some photos of the work that we've done, some
Hmm.
examples, and just to show our experience also, and
Exactly.
what we can do and what can be done at any property.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
there's so many options out there. So we'll go over all that stuff over the next 11 videos, and we're here to help.
Great.
So until the next video, that's it.
See you on the next one.